I married perhaps the most wonderful man in the world, Charlie Blair, one of the great pioneer pilots of the world.
When her husband died in a fiery plane crash, Maureen O'Hara's world shattered into pieces. But grief quickly turned into obsession when she began digging into what really happened that day. And the shocking truth she uncovered was so terrifying, she kept it locked away for 25 long years. With her blazing red hair and striking green eyes, it looked like Maureen was destined to rule old Hollywood from the moment she stepped into the spotlight. She was called the Queen of Technicolor, a title that sounded glamorous, but behind those flashing cameras, her life was full of shadows. From a secret marriage no one saw coming to bitter fights on set, darkness followed her like a curse. Yet this fiery Irish star refused to let it swallow her. She kept running, surviving every scandal thrown her way. Born Maureen Fitzsimmons in 1920s. Dublin, she was one of 6 kids growing up in a lively Irish household. When she was just 5, her family got a mysterious visit from a woman who claimed she could see the future. The woman looked straight at little Maureen and said, "You will leave Ireland one day and become famous all over the world, but it will all slip through your fingers." The eerie prediction sent chills down her family's spine. At 14, O'Hara joined Dublin's legendary Abbey Theatre, determined to chase her acting dreams. For 3 years, she hustled hard, landing small parts and learning the ropes. Finally, she scored her first leading role, but right when things were looking up, fate threw her a wild curveball. An American entertainer named Harry Richmond spotted her talent and was convinced she was born for the silver screen. He told her to ditch theater and head for film, setting up a big-screen test that could change her life forever. But when the cameras rolled at Elstree Studios in London, everything went wrong. The makeup artists caked her face in powder, stuck her in a tacky gold gown, and styled her hair so dramatically she looked twice her age. Maureen was horrified. She felt like a stranger staring back at her in the mirror. Convinced she'd ruined her shot, she thought her acting career was over before it even began. But then, out of nowhere, a miracle happened. English actor Charles Laughton saw that disastrous screen test, and he didn't see a failure. He saw star power. Impressed by her raw talent, he immediately offered her a Hollywood contract. There was just one catch. She had to change her last name. And that's how Maureen Fitzsimmons became the unforgettable Maureen O'Hara. Her big break came when she landed a role in Alfred Hitchcock's Jamaica Inn. While filming, she caught the attention of English producer George H. Brown. He fell hard, head over heels obsessed. But O'Hara didn't feel the same spark. When she told him she was off to Hollywood to film The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Brown begged her to see him one last time before she left. George H. Brown couldn't wait to brag. He ran straight to the press, boasting that he was married to Ireland's brightest young star. The headline exploded everywhere, but when Maureen O'Hara's Hollywood bosses caught wind of her surprise wedding, they were furious. They had big plans for her career, and a sudden marriage didn't fit the image they wanted. Already desperate to undo her mistake, O'Hara didn't hesitate to follow her studio's strict orders. While Brown sat back in Ireland, expecting his glowing bride to return soon, Maureen stayed behind in America and quietly got their marriage annulled. Just like that, she cut all ties. She never saw George Brown again. Before The Hunchback of Notre Dame even hit theaters, the press was buzzing with excitement about Hollywood's new red-headed sensation. But O'Hara didn't understand the hype. She worried that she'd just be another short-lived novelty. Little did she know she was about to become a legend. Things seemed promising until World War II turned the film industry upside down. Productions stopped, money dried up, and everything she'd built started slipping through her fingers. To make things worse, the one person she trusted most, Charles Laughton, her mentor, betrayed her in cold blood. In desperate need of cash, he sold her contract to RKO Pictures without even telling her first. Just like that, Maureen was trapped in Hollywood, oceans away from her family in Ireland. She later confessed that Lawton's betrayal left her feeling completely abandoned. For years, O'Hara slogged through low-quality films, weak scripts, lousy direction, and zero spark. She started doubting herself, wondering if she'd made a huge mistake chasing fame in America. Ready to give up, she made one last plea to her agent, begging for a part in John Ford's upcoming film, How Green Was My Valley. She got it, and while the movie made her a star, it also pulled her into one of the most twisted relationships of her life. O'Hara and Ford would go on to make 5 films together over 2 decades, but their professional chemistry hid something disturbing. Ford was obsessed, completely consumed by her. Though O'Hara made it clear she wasn't interested, he couldn't accept rejection. His moods swung wildly between drunken affection and cruel outbursts. He sent her rambling love letters one day, and the next he'd lash out in rage. At one point, he even punched her in the face during an argument on set. People whispered, "We can't pretend you didn't get the note," as though everyone knew what was happening, but no one dared to intervene. Lonely and emotionally drained, O'Hara found brief comfort in another director, William Houston Price. And like clockwork, he too fell head over heels for her. Once her annulment from Brown was finalized, Price wasted no time proposing. Feeling isolated and unsure of herself, Maureen said yes, but deep down, she knew something was off. She didn't even tell her family about the wedding until minutes before it happened. Her rushed phone call shocked them, but the real shock came after the ceremony. After World War II, Maureen O'Hara finally claimed her throne as Hollywood's blazing queen of Technicolor. With that flaming red hair, glowing green eyes, and porcelain skin, she became the ultimate symbol of old-school glamour. Cameras adored her, but behind all that dazzling color there was real pain. Those blinding studio lights gave her pounding headaches. And worse, she developed a rare form of conjunctivitis that left her eyes swollen and sore. Fame was beautiful, but it hurt. Despite the chaos in her marriage to William Houston Price, O'Hara found a rare moment of joy when she gave birth to her daughter Bronwyn in 1944. Becoming a mother lit up her world, even when everything else was crumbling. Just a few years later, in 1947, she starred in Miracle on 34th Street, the Christmas classic that Hollywood still worships today. That film reignited her love for acting and reminded her what she was fighting for. She adored working alongside the young Natalie Wood, who played her daughter in the movie. And everyone on set was enchanted by Edmund Gwenn, who played Kris Kringle himself. "I tell her Santa Claus is a myth, and you bring her down here and she sees hundreds of gullible children meet a very convincing old man," O'Hara once joked, laughing about how magical the experience felt. Professionally, she was soaring, but behind closed doors, her personal life was falling apart fast. At home, Price's drinking had spiraled out of control. Every night he'd stumble in drunk, leaving Maureen to clean up the mess. And it got worse. He wasn't just wasting his nights, he was wasting her money. She soon discovered that her husband had hired a shady business manager who was secretly taking half of her paycheck and funneling it into another account just for him. Can you imagine? Their life fell into a grim routine. He'd party all night with his drinking buddies, and by morning, he'd be passed out cold. Maureen would quietly call an ambulance to take him to the hospital, just to keep him alive. It was heartbreaking and humiliating. Still, because of her strong Catholic faith, O'Hara refused to file for divorce, no matter how miserable she became. But fate finally intervened in 1951 on what would have been their 10th wedding anniversary. Price packed up and filed for divorce himself. Just like that, her decade-long nightmare ended. Freed at last, O'Hara escaped to Mexico to recover, and that trip changed everything. While there, she met Enrique Parra, a wealthy banker and influential politician. For the first time in years, she felt seen, not used. Enrique had his own fortune, his own power, and didn't need a dime from her. Still, after everything she'd been through, O'Hara wasn't about to fall blindly again. When Parra claimed he was separated from his wife, she didn't just take his word for it. She hired a private investigator to follow him and make sure it was true. She wasn't playing games anymore. By the 1950s, O'Hara had found her true cinematic groove. Adventure films and westerns became her kingdom. The chemistry she had with John Wayne was electric, like sparks flying on screen. Whether in Rio Grande or The Quiet Man, their banter was so natural and fiery that people couldn't stop whispering. Were they secretly together? Fans were convinced there was more than just acting between them. People who worked closely with both Maureen O'Hara and John Wayne swore there was real love between them. One insider even claimed that Wayne was truly in love with her, but he never dared to propose because he knew Maureen was too strong-willed. He only married women he thought he could control, the man said. And control was something O'Hara never allowed. After her fiery chemistry with Wayne faded into legend, Maureen threw herself completely into her relationship with Enrique Parra. For years they were inseparable, but tragedy soon shattered their world. When Parra's daughter died in 1967, his grief consumed him. He pulled away, lost in sorrow, and after more than 15 years together, their relationship quietly fell apart. O'Hara was left heartbroken, alone once again, and wondering if she was destined to lose everyone she ever loved. "What county do you come from in Ireland?" someone once asked her. "Dublin," she said. "Dublin. That's where all the wealthy aristocrats of Ireland come from." "Well," she laughed sadly, "must have passed our family by." Fate, however, wasn't done with her yet. Out of nowhere, love found her again, this time in the sky. Back in 1946, she'd once flown to Ireland on a plane piloted by a man named Charles F. Blair, Jr. Over the years, he'd become close with her brothers. One night, when her brother had to cancel dinner plans, he asked Maureen to go in his place. That night changed everything. At first, Maureen and Blair bonded as two friends leaning on each other through heartbreak. They were both healing from failed relationships. But one evening, Blair looked at her and made a simple, straightforward proposal. He told her he was retiring and wanted her to marry him. It wasn't the most romantic moment, but surprisingly, she said yes. After all the heartbreak and betrayal she'd endured, something about his honesty and calm steadiness felt safe. And this time, she was right. Against all odds, O'Hara found real happiness with Charles Blair. Unlike many Hollywood stars, she preferred a quieter, more grounded life. She'd always been strong enough to say no to pushy directors and refused to pose for scandalous photo shoots just to stay relevant. As time passed, she grew disillusioned with the film industry, especially as movies became more risque and less classy. So in the 1970s, Maureen quietly stepped away from acting to focus on her marriage and her new life. But retirement didn't mean slowing down. She and her husband started a small airline together in the Virgin Islands, and she even became the editor of a local magazine. Life was peaceful and productive until tragedy struck again. Charles Blair was piloting a flight when the plane's engine failed mid-air. It crashed, killing him and 3 passengers instantly. Maureen was completely shattered. Her soulmate was gone in a heartbeat. But the heartbreak didn't stop there. After his death, Maureen took over as CEO and president of their airline, making history as the first woman to ever lead a scheduled airline in the United States. Yet behind her powerful title, she was living a silent nightmare. Not long after taking over, doctors diagnosed her with uterine cancer. She underwent surgery and began to recover. But before she could fully heal, she got devastating news. Her closest friend, John Wayne, was also battling cancer, and he was losing. Maureen O'Hara's story didn't end with fame or heartbreak. It ended with a chilling mystery that still haunts Hollywood to this day. After losing her beloved husband, Charles Blair, in that devastating plane crash, Maureen couldn't shake the feeling that something about it didn't add up. She became convinced that his death wasn't an accident at all. She believed her husband might have been secretly tied to the CIA, or even involved in high-level government missions connected to thermonuclear weapons. The deeper she dug, the more terrified she became. Rumors swirled that his plane had been sabotaged and that someone wanted him gone. O'Hara grew certain it was a deliberate plot to silence him forever. The weight of what she uncovered scared her so much that she eventually stopped investigating, terrified that if she kept going, she'd be next. She once confided, "There's nobody else in the whole world I can talk to." That's how isolated she felt, trapped by fear and unanswered questions. But for all her suspicions, nothing was ever proven, and the truth about Charles Blair's death remains locked away in mystery to this very day. In 1989, heartbreak struck again when a massive hurricane tore through St. Croix, destroying the home she and her husband had shared. She thought about rebuilding, but her health was starting to fail. After several heart attacks, she realized it was time to slow down. Maureen eventually left the islands behind and returned to her homeland of Ireland, settling in the quiet beauty of Glengariff. Years later, she moved to Idaho to live with her grandson, where she spent her final peaceful days. In 2015, the legendary Maureen O'Hara passed away in her sleep at the age of 95, graceful, strong, and unforgettable to the very end. Her fiery spirit and bold legacy continue to burn bright in Hollywood's memory. If you loved uncovering the secrets of Maureen O'Hara's incredible life, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below about what shocked you the most. Want to help choose which legend we cover next? Your support keeps these stories alive. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.